Hello everyone. If you have been to the sanctuary recently, you will know that we are planning on getting clouded leopards very soon. Now that the weather has dried up, the enclosure is really on its way and I want to show you around. So there is still some building work obviously ongoing, but we have a lovely viewing area over here. These open areas are going to be windows that people can view through. And then Jill on our education team is going to be putting up all sorts of interesting facts and figures and things to interact with and read and tell you all about clouded leopards. So this is going to be a really nice information area and a viewing area as well. Now, anybody who's seen clouded leopards in any other zoo will probably know that they're a highly arboreal species, so they really love to climb. So this enclosure has a lot of height. It's one of our tallest enclosures on site. And what we're going to do is put a lot of walkways and platforms in, and they're not all in yet, but a lot of the platforms are, but we'll also be adding all sorts of natural beams and things for the cats to walk on. So there's two sections to this enclosure. There's one slightly smaller one and one much larger one as well. We are hoping to get a pair and hopefully mix them down the line, but at first we'll definitely have to hold them separately. These two don't know each other. So we do have one enclosure here which is slightly smaller, but look how full it is of all sorts of beams and walkways and platforms. So it's a really complex enclosure and we're using a lot of the height as well. So obviously it does look, other than all the beautiful structures, it does look a little bit bare. It's not very green. The planting still has to happen in this half of the enclosure, but we have a lovely rock area. Hopefully that might warm up and they might be quite interested in lying on those rocks, and all of these lovely elevated walkways, and they can really get up really nice and high into the platform up there, and they'll even be able to easily get on top of these uprights as well. So there's loads of space for them to use. If you know the site well, you might already know that this is our old puma enclosure, so it's getting a real facelift. The enclosure itself got completely knocked down and we've started afresh, but we are able to use the old existing houses as well. So we've got a little tunnel to get to the house of this enclosure. Nick on our maintenance team is designing these sliders very specifically, so that we can open them and lock them open to varying degrees. So by about every inch we'll be able to lock them. One thing with mixing clouded leopards is there does tend to be some aggression sometimes. They are quite a difficult cat to mix and to breed, and we're trying to design the enclosure in a way that we can give the female safe spaces to go. So we're able to open these by, oh, it's not going to do it now. Yeah, there you go. We'll be able to open them only a little bit, lock it at that if that's what we want. Then if she needs to, she can shoot through, and the male will be too big to at least shoot through as quickly as her. So we'll be able to hopefully at least slow him down if it does turn into a bit of a chase. So this is one of the nest box that we're making. Either of them can use this. The word nest isn't necessarily, related to babies. It's just a nice, comfortable, sort of tight and enclosed area for the cats to be in. So we'll put straw in here. We also, you may see some cables and things. We're gonna put cameras in these boxes as well. There's this one, and then in the larger enclosure there's also going to be one as well, and we're hoping that they'll make the cloudies feel really, really nice and comfortable and cozy in there. So the cables are for the cameras, but obviously we have to think about how we're going to protect the cables from biting and things like that. So there's a little groove up here that we're going to run the cables in, and then there's a nice metal pipe which we can run the cables down, and then they go under the ground so that there's no danger to the cats at all. And then I can open up, it's probably home to a few tools and things at the moment, a few boxes of screws, but we can open up as keepers. You can't see this bit from the viewing area of the enclosure, and we can clean out the nest and everything like that, clean out the straw, keep it nice and clean and tidy for everybody, and then we can close them back up and they can have their privacy back. So we're lining everything in natural wood. The machined wood is quite comfortable for the cats to lie on because it's nice and flat, but then just to make everything look beautiful and natural, we're lining it all with the natural wood as well. So you can see what the platforms will be looking like. We've had some amazing donations of tree trunks as well in the past, and we're able to utilise some from site as well. So we're gathering all sorts of natural wood and tree trunks and things from all over site and through donations, which we're really grateful for. What we will be adding is at least 2 beams to each platform. So if he's coming up one and she doesn't want to be around him, she can go down the other. She's not sort of cornered on a platform. So there's going to be at least 2 beams, either leading down to the floor or from one platform to another, etc. So again, we're going to go for that complexity that we've got in the smaller side as well. Lots and lots of walkways, lots of places for them to be, lots of options for where they can rest and all sorts of things like that. So this is the back of the enclosure. This isn't going to be so on show, but we're still making it really lovely and interesting for the cats. Nice and busy as well. If they do want to be a bit more secluded and be in the bush, there's lots of planting as well. It will eventually be a really nice thick enclosure, but we do have lots of planting to add. So this is the original pond from our puma enclosure. Some of you, if you've been here lots of times in the past, you may recognise the rock structure as well coming down into the pond. We do have a really nice, again, natural tree trunk for them to walk over for photographic opportunities and things like that. I believe we're just going to skew it round this way a little bit more. But that's just a beautiful decorative area for people to view them from the windows as well. And hopefully it'll make lovely pictures. But again, having a pond, it's a little bit more enriching, adds some complexity to the environment and the enclosure as well. More rocks. I'm really hoping that sometimes, you know, these rocks might just warm up and the cats might like to lie on them. We're going to straighten that out slightly, and that's going to be a really nice flat area for them to lie on if they would like to. So clouded leopards are an absolutely amazing species. Those of you who have been following us for a long time will know that we had a pair a long time ago, Ben and Mandalay. They were absolutely stunning animals, and we're really excited to welcome them back. They can be quite shy. These guys are predominantly nocturnal animals, so it may be that they want to sort of find hiding spaces and things like that, but people will have to just try extra hard to spot them around the enclosure and do a little search. But they're absolutely beautiful. They're decorated much like a snake. Their camouflage is to help them in the jungles. These guys come from the foothills of the Himalayas, and they stretch around, their distribution stretched around into Southeast Asia as well. So these guys are a tropical animal. They come all the way from the foothills of the Himalayas through a little part of India, Bhutan, and into Southeast Asia in areas like Borneo and Thailand. Their size, a male, are probably about the same size as a lynx. But they will be a different shape, so they're shorter and they're much longer. These guys have such a beautiful long tail, which can account for half of their body length. So as you can see, the enclosure is really coming along, and we're really, really excited. Hopefully in the next few weeks the female will be here, and she'll have a fantastic home to settle into. So we still need to do some turfing, some planting, there's still some landscaping and walkways and things that need to go up, windows need to go in, etc. But we're really, really getting close, which is fantastic.
We're really excited to say that our clouded leopard enclosure is finished. The building maintenance team are just putting the final details on. Let's go and have a look. The first of the clouded leopards is arriving imminently, and what you can see between both enclosures is lots and lots of really cool walkways. They're such an arboreal species found in high up rainforests of Southeast Asia. We wanted to replicate that with the habitat, and each platform has 2 walkways coming on and off of it to allow for access routes on and off for eventually when they're mixed. The gardening team have been working really hard, planting really gorgeous plants and all this lovely turf in the enclosure to represent Southeast Asian rainforest. So hopefully in time it will look really lush and be growing nice and high in here. We've had CCTV cameras installed throughout both enclosures, including inside their boxes, just so we can keep an eye on what they're doing when we're not around. So what you'll notice on the enclosure floor is this new substrate called Breedon. It's very much like sand, so it replicates some of the habitat that we found in, especially as they go up to water bodies. It's much softer for their pads than concrete, and so we're hoping that they're going to really enjoy this different substrate when they're here. There are also some really cool natural features in the enclosure, like this log over the pond, which should provide some really nice photographic opportunities. And this is the new habitat. We're ready to go and get Bua.
Today's a really exciting day at the Big Cat Sanctuary because we are welcoming back clouded leopards for the first time in several years. We're going to Howlett's Wild Animal Park to collect Bua, our beautiful new female, as part of the international breeding program. We can't wait to welcome her to her new home. We've arrived at Howlett's Wild Animal Park to collect Bua, our beautiful new clouded leopard. We're really excited to be welcoming clouded leopards back to the Big Cat Sanctuary as part of the international breeding program, and we're really grateful for everything Howlett's are doing to help us with this. Having clouded leopards back is just something that's going to be truly remarkable for the sanctuary because of the fact that they are such a threatened species, and from a conservation side of things, with what we're doing, it's something that we're hoping to expand more into in the future. So we're now just waiting for the team to bring Bua over, and then we'll be loading her up and taking her to her new home at the sanctuary. All right, that's Bua loaded up. Time to head back to the sanctuary. So there we have it, move complete. Bua is safely here at the sanctuary, and we have clouded leopards back for the first time in several years. And now it's just a case of everyone coming and enjoying these wonderful cats in their beautiful new home.